Hello, students. Welcome back to Tuition Masters. And today we are here with session number 3 for your grade 9 chapter Improvement in Food Resources. So, today is our session 3. In the previous sessions, we had discussed about how do we produce crops, what are the different types of crops, as well as last session we discussed about nutrient management and our irrigation processes. In the today's session, we are here with doing crop protection management along with one more part which we were left from crop production, that is cropping patterns. From cropping patterns, we will start, all right, and then till we will do crop protection management and cattle farming. In our next session, we will cover these three remaining parts and complete with the chapter. So, let us start with our first topic of cropping patterns. Before starting, make sure to like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe to channel right away. So, when we talk about cropping patterns, farmers and agriculturists use different types of patterns so that the crop produce, the yield can be increased. There are three types of cropping pattern: mixed cropping, intercropping, and crop rotation. When we talk about intermixed cropping, here in this form of cropping pattern, we are going to mix two or more crops we are using and growing them in separate fields. But both the crops will be grown together, and in the same, sorry, not separate fields, in the same field, they will be spread and grown together. For example, wheat plus gram, or wheat plus mustard, or groundnut plus sunflower. Such kind of combinations we can take and do mixed cropping. Next is intercropping. Intercropping, you can say, is an advanced form of mixed cropping because here also two or more crops are only grown, but we are growing them in a definite pattern. Few rows of one crop, then few rows of some other crop, that way. For example, this dark green is for maize, then the light green is for soybean, then the grayish is for oats. So in that fashion, we are going to grow the three different types of crops, but alternatively. For example, soybean plus maize, finger millet plus cowpea. You can do that way and do intercropping. Next one, okay, intercropping. The thing is, you have to choose any random crops you cannot take. You have to choose that specific crop जिसका properties, environmental conditions match होना चाहिए. For example, you have to take two such crops where they require same amount of rain, same amount of temperature, because you do not want to damage any crop, isn't it? So that is why you have to take a crop which is similar in nature. Next one is crop rotation. When we grow different types of crops alternatively on a piece of land, like this year I'm growing leafy vegetables, next year I'm growing legume, that kind of cropping is known as crop rotation. There are few advantages. For example, it increases the soil fertility, it increases crop yield as well, it reduces soil erosion and limits concentration of pests and diseases. So, how? Because the thing is, for example, wheat and rice I'm growing. Okay, wheat and rice, they take a large amount of nitrogen from the soil. A large amount of nitrogen is taken from the soil. Now we will go a leguminous plant. We will grow a legume which will in turn, while growing, fix nitrogen in the soil. So nitrogen, which is highly used by wheat and rice, will be fixed by a leguminous plant like pea or green pea and mustard and everything, that leguminous plant. So they will replenish the nitrogen part. Moving towards the next topic, that is crop protection management. Now our crops are grown and ready, but how do we protect them now? So through crop protection management, insects, pests, diseases are to be controlled through various methods. In fields, we have to protect these our crops from weeds, insects, disease causing organ like fungi, bacterial diseases, because if not taken care, these crop may get damaged. First is weeds. Now, if you see that our main crop, this is my main crop, okay? 1 minute. For example, let us say this is my main crop. Okay, this is my main crop. All right, this is my main crop. But what will happen? I in near the crop there will be some extra plants. Okay, there will be some extra plants and they are unwanted. So those unwanted plants are known as weeds. So weeds are nothing but the unwanted plant which grow with the main crop. Along with that, they compete with the main crop. The main crop which we want, they will compete for light, they will compete for nutrients, and in that disturb and you know eliminate the main crop. So that is why it is important we remove these weeds so that we have a good harvest. There are various types of weeds, for example, xanthium, which is a scientific, xanthium and all are the scientific names. In Hindi and all, we call it as gokhru. Then we have parthenium, that is gajar ghas. Then we have cyprinus rotundus, that is motha. Okay, so cyprinus rotundus, parthenium, xanthium, all of these are the scientific names of this weeds. Okay, so these are the various kinds of weeds which in turn fight with the main crop and then harm them as well. Next is our next problem is insects. Second is insects. Now insects basically they are biotic part of the nature, isn't it? They are biotic, so they can harm the plant in three ways. First one, caterpillars and all they may make holes in the roots, stems and leaves. Dusra, some parasitic insects. Some parasitic insects may suck the cell sap. They will stay on the plant and they will suck the cell sap from it, and in case giving no nutrients to the plant. Third are they bore into the stem and fruits as well. In stems and fruits they will go. So if you have ever seen, when you cut fruits like chiku, apple, sometimes what you see is when you cut there's suddenly a worm coming from it. Correct? Any insect, how does that go inside? So what happens basically when it's in the field, maybe that insect or worm, whatever it is, it will make a hole and go inside. Many times you go in market, you see many vegetables, I mean not vegetable, many fruits, vegetables, tomatoes and all, there are some holes in it. Why? Because that holes are because some insect have entered, so it's good that we do not buy them. Okay. Third one is pathogens. Pathogens are nothing but any disease causing organism. In short, some foreign particles. They are known as pathogens. Example, bacterial, viral, or fungal. These all are the pathogenic diseases. These can be transmitted to the plant by teen tarike, I mean by three ways: soil, water, and air. Due to these three things only, they may attack the plant. Now these are the three problems, right? Now how do we solve them? Now for solving, you can use three type of chemicals known as pesticides. First one is herbicide. It will kill the weeds there, as a xanthium, cyprinus rotundum, all of those things, it will kill it. Insecticides will kill all the insects which you have, and fungicides will kill the fungal diseases in the plant. But again, as I said, these are chemicals, so they have many disadvantages. When irrigation is done, these chemicals may flow into the water and soil, resulting in the pollution. Even as these are chemical substances, they will damage the soil fertility. Then grains, fruits, and vegetables, we are spraying or putting these chemicals on them only, right? So in that, it will put some harmful chemicals will be there inside of it also. And when we eat or consume it, it will harm us as well. So that is what the problem of insecticides and pesticides is. Now, when we protected, how do we store now? So there should be present before storage, how can we do more protection? Preventive measures against pests are the use of resistant varieties and summer plowing. Why summer plowing? When we plow the fields in deep summers, it will destroy all the weeds and pests, because during summer the temperature is very high, so this weeds pest won't survive there. Okay, so now look over here. This is a disease resistant variety. It is a disease resistant variety, and this is a normal variety. So by the various methods of hybridization, monohybrid, dihybrid, whatever hybrids are there, with the help of that you can make a disease resistant variety, and it will be free from this fungal, viral, everything. Okay. Now, once our crops are done from protection, how do we store them after harvesting? Now, basically, at home level, at a small people, we keep it in small jars or containers. But in large scale or agriculturist only, they store things in granaries and silos as well. Storage is a very important part, because if the storage is done wrong, the entire hard work of all these months will go in waste. So crop protection management is the very important part. We have to keep these crops safe from moisture, insects, rats, and microorganisms as well. What factors may affect the storage? First factor is the biotic factor. It includes living organism like insects, rodents, birds, mites, and microorganisms, which can eat the grains and all and destroy them. Second are the abiotic factors, which include temperature and moisture. Now, the temperature should be maintained at a lower or very high temperature, because at these temperatures, lower or higher, the microorganisms will die. But in a moderate temperature, the microorganisms are very active, and they may easily attack the grains. How about moisture? The fresh crop has more moisture. The crop we just cut and harvested, it has very much moisture in it. So for safe storage, the moisture should be decreased by 14% by the weight. It should be less than 14% by weight, because if there is more moisture, if more moisture content is there, infection by microorganisms will also increase, because in moisture, normal temperature, microorganisms can harm the crop very much. What measures can we take for this? In godowns, warehouses, and everything, there should be proper maintenance of hygiene. We should spray insecticides, so that if there are any insects, so they may die before the storage. Next, insecticides in the form of fumes, that are fumigants, should also be used. Then you can even use a biopesticide, that is dried neem leaves, so that these microorganisms won't harm. So it's biopesticide, it won't harm the environment as well. Okay. So with this, we have completed with crop protection management. Now let us move towards the last topic of the day, that is cattle farming. Cattle farming comes in a vast topic of animal husbandry. When we talk about animal husbandry, it is nothing but, again, a branch of agriculture itself, but it deals with feeding, shelter, health, as well as breeding of domestic animals like cows, goats, buffaloes, hens, etc. etc. Now, why do we need an animal husbandry? Now, basically, apart from vegetables, fruits, and all, it is important that our population, they even need a demand for milk, eggs, and meat for protein requirements as well. So there is a revolutionary increase in all these products. Now, milk, eggs, meat, how do we get it? We can't grow them. We get it from animals. So for that, animal husbandry comes in picture. So satisfy the needs, there are many revolutions done. For example, Operation Flood and White Revolution related to milk production. Then Silver Revolution, which related to egg production. So yes, all of this are the very important functions of animal husbandry. Talking of which comes cattle farming. Cattle farming involves rearing and management of two types of animals. First, cattle group that will produce us milk, and other which will give us labor purposes for like irrigation and plowing in farms. So there are two types, for food requirements, and second for labor purposes we do cattle farming. There are two types of cattle: cow, scientifically known as Bos indicus, and buffalo, scientifically known as Bos bubalis. So these are the two cattle we have, cow and buffalo. And cattle husbandry is done for two type of purposes. First is for milched animals, and second is for draught animals. Milched animals are the cattle which will produces milk, the female cattle which will produce milk, and draught animal are the cattle which we will use for agricultural labor. Okay, agricultural labor. Okay, for that we will use the draught animals. Coming towards milch animals, they we it is based on the milk production. Now, on milk production by milch animals will depend upon the lactation period. But what is lactation period? Lactation period is the period of milk production after the birth of a calf. So a cow will produce milk after the birth of a calf is done, correct? So if we want to increase the milk production, so lactation period should be increased as well. Then only we can we can milk the cow and get the milk for ourselves. Cleanliness. It is important because if cows, buffaloes, all these cattle are not in a good condition, they may get ill, they may get diseases which will even harm us. So for that, cleanliness is a very important part. They have roofed shelters with good ventilation for and protection from rain, heat, and cold. There are regular brushing of skin of the cattle it's done so that there are no diseases or pest on them. Sloping floor of shelter so that waterlogging doesn't take place. Now, food again plays a very important role because if you feed good food only, then it will produce good milk to you. Correct? If the cows stay healthy by eating good food, then only it will produce good milk. Correct? So roughage food is given which contains high fibers. Then proteins and other nutrients are given, and there are feed additives which contain micronutrients like vitamins and minerals so that milk production is enhanced and good supreme quality of milk is produced. But yet there are diseases which may cause death or reduction in the milk production. How? Parasites. It may live internally or externally and take nutrients. How? External parasites may cause skin infections on the cattle. Internal parasites like worms may affect the stomach and intestines. And flukes may damage the liver. Such infectious diseases are caused by bacteria and viruses only. So it's proper that for this vaccinations are given as well for these cattle also vaccinations are there so that we can increase the milk production. So with this, my dear students, we are here with the end of today's session, and today we discuss about cattle farming, crop production management, and crop pattern also. In our next session, we are going to complete this chapter by doing the ahead parts of this chapter and the last part. So make sure to like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe to channel right away for more videos. I'll be seeing you soon. Till then, take care.